ineffective. Would you like to join our photo? I want to join your photo.
So this is pretty much...
If anyone wants to join, come in.
This is a very small contingent has come over
Anyone wants to join the photo up, get in.
after being told that they're not allowed to.
Yeah, we're inclusive. We're inclusive.
Yeah, you don't have to be Jewish. Just be Australian.
Thank you.
Come on, stay here.
One more? All right.
Like, I don't think any of the Israeli protesters are actually coming, but you got a whole cordon of cops here. And there's more here, so you can't. It looks like you can't get to any section because they announced they were going to march over, and then the organiser, Mark Leach, got called to over to the cops to have talking to, and he got told that you're not allowed to protest at the you're not allowed to protest at the Opera House. So he kind of, apparently he said, "Oh well, what do you mean you can't? What happened last year, a year ago?" But anyway, so there was wondering why all the cops left over there.
And the police have informed me entirely reasonably that there were bylaws that prevent any protest happening in the Opera House, and if anyone goes there with flags or banners, they will have to enforce the bylaws, and they really don't want to do that. They support what we're doing, and in the sense that this is peaceful and harmonious, and they don't want a confrontation, but they have to enforce the law. Now, of course, we go, well, what happened a year ago? And you know what? We will do what's right. And in doing what's right, we will heap burning coals of shame on the heads of those who do what's wrong. And that's just what we're going to do. So
it's the 9th of October 2024, and I'm just down at the Opera House, almost at the Opera House. I couldn't get over there, I haven't got time, because they're having I asked the bloke at the wharf here if I could film from the end of the wharf. He said yeah. But there's a Never Again Is Now rally in Israel, or not Israeli, but Israeli supporting rally on here at Customs House, which was our one of the old haunts. We used to do the freedom rallies at the good old days. But yeah, so that's I'm not sure what's going to happen. It doesn't look like there's much staging. It's due to kick off in about 5 minutes. So I'll go and have a little look once I get back out, and I'll start recording what gets said. All right, so this is the Never United by Love. It's called, not Never. It's run by the Never Again Is Now people, which is Mark Leach over here, just the one guy, kneeling down, and his daughter Freya, who's normally runs them as well, but I haven't seen her yet. But everyone's at the front of Customs House here, getting their photos from the darkness into the light. We are Australians united by love. So there seems to be a lot of people doing that. Sorry, brother, front of another cameraman, wasn't very happy. But they have got a lot of seating for people. They have I guess that's going to light up. There's a Israeli flag on the ground, which is made of those little fairy light type things. That'll light up as well, I'm assuming later. They have their Stop the Hate Mate yellow shirts, so they had a big box of them handing them out. A few people have taken them up on it. And so I can't see a stage for speaking, but I think it's just it's a smaller event than the previous ones have been in Canberra, and the other ones they've held. So yeah, I'll stop chatting and we'll see how it goes. Oh, here we go. There's a microphone.
Well, we're getting ready to start. As long as everyone here, the weather is coming off, so that's fantastic. And 1 minute to go, or thereabouts. There are some people who are going to share some words this afternoon. Make your way to the front. We're going to do this in the round, so feel free to move around, come close, put yourselves up. Just treat from each other. That'll be awesome.
It's Customs House. There's always this, they have these symbols on the ground, as you can see, and I've read this before, but it's different from the normal one. It's something else. You can pause and read it. But yeah, it's open still. Have a quick look while we're waiting. They have a map of the city underneath the floor here, which is always quite interesting to look at. You walk over top of it. There it is. There's the Opera House itself right there. All right, so let's head out and see what it's all about.
Photos using the photo boards at some point, that'd be great. Just make yourself at home during the event. Take some photos. All right. We're going to start, and my name is Mark, and my life was changed forever a year ago on October the 9th. Freya, my daughter, who's the successful, good-looking, intelligent one, called me from Sydney University on the morning of the 9th and said, "Dad, there's a pro-Palestinian rally planned for Town Hall." And I thought, this is less than 48 hours after the massacre of October the 7th. The blood hadn't dried yet on the sands of southern Israel. They were still chasing terrorists around. And I thought, somebody has to shine a spotlight on this evil. And I phoned the police and I said, I plan to come down to the city to voice my objection to this event. And the police said, well, Mr. Leach, if you do come down, we'll arrest you to prevent a breach of the peace. And we're advising the Jewish community to stay out of the city. So as you can see, I was professionally religious. I'm a very pious man. So I thought to myself, in my best pious Anglican voice, I thought, bugger that. I thought, no, yeah. There is no way in this great city of Sydney that we can let hate conquer and occupy the center of our city. There is no way in this city of Sydney will the Jewish people be kept out of the city on the day that marks their greatest tragedy since the Holocaust. So I wrapped up a Israeli flag in my squash bag and I wandered on down to the cathedral, dressed much like I am now, and I watched the rally start. And as I heard people start chanting, "Kill the Jews," I took out the Israeli flag and I stood and I waved it. And I was very soon surrounded by a bunch of keffiyeh-wrapped thugs who chased me out of the town hall, up Bathurst Street, down George Street, until I hid behind a police van, and they dispersed the guys after me. And a little while later, Mark Spiro tried to do the same thing. I don't know, is Mark here? I saw him, someone registered Mark. Anyway, Mark then actually did get arrested, and so for the last year, everyone's conflated my story with his, and I said, no, I wasn't arrested, I ran away. And what struck me then as I started connecting with the Jewish community was how unbelievably grateful everyone was. And I just wanted to say, don't thank me. I just did what any decent human being would do. There is such great moral clarity around this war. This is not a time for equivalences. This is not a time to try and speak out of both sides of your mouth and keep everybody happy. This is a time of extraordinary clarity. Good versus evil, civilization versus barbarianism. Which some of you may know my story. As well as being an Anglican pastor, my mother was a refugee from the Holocaust. She and her parents fled Germany in 1938, Jews in Frankfurt. And one of the reasons I did what I did, and one of the reasons I do what I do, is because the good Christians of Germany didn't do what they should have done in the 1930s, and we know how that story ended, and we will not let that happen here in Australia. Never again is now, people. So since then, there has been an extraordinary journey of grassroots involvement, trying to mobilize the Christian community, everyday Australians, as well as, in one of the great privileges of my life, finding myself immersed for the first time in up to my eyeballs in the Jewish community around the country, and it has been absolutely beautiful and wonderful. And so I want to thank you on behalf of myself and the Never Again Is Now crew, particularly the non-Jewish folk amongst us. I want to thank you for welcoming us and accepting our little efforts on your behalf and on behalf of Australia. This event has come together in an extremely grassroots kind of way, and what the plan is to I'm going to ask Rabbi Yossi in a moment to come and say some prayers. I might say some prayers, and then with some people are going to share some of the impact of October 9th and what that has meant to them, and then we're going to sing together, I think. And then after this, once the formalities here are over, we're going to, there'll be an opportunity. I'm told some people, and this is not an official part of the event, but there may be a group walking over to the Opera House, perhaps for a photo shoot on the steps in an act of great love. But we'll tell you a little more about that as we go. So Rabbi Yossi, let me invite you to come. And Rabbi on demand, look at him, looking so schmick, mate. Come on into the center and come.
Thank you very much, Mark, and the entire Never Again Is Now team. Yeah, I'm Yossi from Rabbi on Demand, and I'm also very grassroots as well, so kind of love the spontaneity and the vibe. Very warm, very supportive. But I also want to say I was also here on that night of October 9. We were all told to stay at home. On the night that Australia was going to be showing its support and lighting up the sails of the Opera House in blue and white, we as a Jewish community were told to not go because of the demonstrations. The pro-Hamas terrorist supporters were going to be demonstrating at the Opera House. I had my kids in my car that whole afternoon, and I was already on my way. And we decided we were going to go, and we actually went to Lady Macquarie's chair, so quite far away, because we really wanted to see the Opera House light up. We were there for quite a while, and it did not light up. I think it was the other side that lit up, and it was only for a short amount of time, so we were waiting and waiting and waiting. But very disturbing to us, we could see the flames, and we could hear the chants and the hatred all the way to Lady Macquarie's chair. And at some point I said to my kids, it's actually time to go. We need to go. And we left in the car, we were crying. And what it was supposed to be for the Jewish community, a night of pride and unity in Australia, ended up being, as we know now, a night of hatred. And that's why we're here tonight. We're here on the anniversary to say that never again is now. We're not going to allow this to happen again. And today we're standing here not as bystanders. We're standing here as upstanders. All of you are taking a position. Whilst they may gather still to intimidate, to disrupt, we gather in love and in peace. And we're deeply grateful. On behalf of the Jewish community, we're deeply grateful to our Christian brothers and sisters and to those of all faiths and backgrounds who gather with us here today, and what has been a very, very difficult past year for Israel and for Jews here in Sydney, Australia, and all around the world. And we thank you for your strength and your courage, because we know as Jews that we are not alone. We have many, many supporters and dear friends, so thank you. I also want to point out that Israel is not just fighting a war for its own existence. It's also fighting against evil and terrorism for the entire world. And despite what the world says about us, about Israel, we, as a state and as a nation, will never back down from our mission to be that shining light to the nations of the world. And lastly for me, because I've actually been asked to come here today to sing, to use my voice, but I just want to say lastly, and thank everyone here for standing with us today. And we continue to pray for the return of our hostages. We continue to pray for peace in Israel and in the entire region, and peace locally as well. And we also pray that we never lose hope, despite what we see in our own communities, the lack of leadership, despite what we see with protests and hate resurfacing like we've never seen since the Holocaust. We do not give up on hope. We hope to live and raise our children in a world free of hate, prejudice and violence, and we hope to soon see and live in a world in which the knowledge of God covers the earth like the water covers the ocean bed. And I'm now going to recite or sing the prayer for the state of Israel. We're going to pray for the soldiers in the IDF, and we're also going to pray for the captives. Please join me if you know the words, if you know the songs. Please rise if you're able to. Please join me in prayer and in song. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zu Yisrael v'Goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zu Yisrael v'Goalo. Barech, Barech, et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Tzmichat Geulateinu, Hagein Alea, Bevrat Chazdecha, Ufros Aleha, Sukat Shlomecha. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zu Yisrael v'Goalo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Zu Yisrael v'Goalo. ושלח אורך ועמיתך לראשיה, שריה ויועציה, ותקנם בעצה טובם לפניך. חזק את ידי מגיני ארץ קודשנו, והנחילם אלוהינו ישוב עתיד ניצחון תעטרם, ונתת שלום בארץ, ושמחת עולם ליושביה. ידכם לכל בית ישראל בקודנה בכל הארצות בזוריהם, ותולכם מהר כממיר לציון עירך ולירושלים משכן שמך, ככתוב בתורת משה עבדך. אם יהיה נדחך בקצה השמיים, משם יקבצך אדוני אלוהיך, ומשם ייקחך. והביאך אדוני אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר ירשו אבותיך ורשתה, והצילך והרבך מאבותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ולירא את שמך, ולשמור את כל דברי תורתך, ושלח לנו מהרה בדוד משיח צדקך, לפדות מחקקי תשועתך. הופע בהדר גאונוזך, כל יושר ותבוא לארצך, ואומר, כל אשר נשמע באפו, אדוני אלוהי ישראל מלך, ומלכותו בכל משלה. Amen. Selah. Prayer for the soldiers of the IDF. Misheberach Avoteinu Abraham Yitzchak veYaakov Uyevarech et Chayalei Tzva Hagana Yisrael Uyevarech et Chayalei Zwar Hagana LeYisrael Uyevarech et Chayalei Zwar Hagana LeYisrael העומדים על משמר ארצנו וערי אלוהינו בגבול הלבנון ועד מדבר מצרים ומן הים הגדול עד לבוא הערבה ביבשה, באוויר ובים. You protect us on land, by sea and in the air. ייתן אדוני את אבינו הגמים עלינו נגפים לפניהם, הקדוש ברוך הוא ישמור ויציל את חיילינו מכל צרה וצוקה ומכל נגע ומחלה, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, to bless them with success in all the actions of their hands. יד בארץ אלינו תחתיהם, יעטרם בחסד ושבתך ניצחון וקויה בהם הכתוב, and may the verse be fulfilled. כי אדוני אלוהיכם ההולך עמכם לנחם לכם במאויביכם להושיע אתכם, for it is the Lord your God that walks with you to fight for you against your enemies and to save you. ונאמר Amen. Prayer for the captives. Blessed our forefathers Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and foremothers Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, and Leah. Bless, watch, and guard those missing from the Israel Defense Forces and the captives of Israel that are situated in distress and captivity. On account of our praying for them, may the Holy One, blessed be He, grant mercy upon them, take them out from darkness and gloom, break their chains, redeem them from their ordeals, and return them quickly to the comfort of their families. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
And lastly, the prayer for peace. Ohoseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru, imru amen. Ohoseh shalom bimromav. Join me. hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ve'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Thank you.
Much, Rabbi, for that. I think Dad is currently talking to the police, perhaps about our spontaneous Opera House photo. So we'll move on to the next item, and he will rejoin us shortly, I'm sure. I'd now like to invite up a woman of incredible strength who has very first-hand experience with children at university and is also very involved in the Jewish community, to come speak to us about her experience of life in Australia post-October 9. Thank you, Shoshana.
Hello everybody, thank you so much for coming out tonight. My name is Shoshana Eisner. I am 7 generations Australian on one side. Yeah, exactly. And I am on my other side, I'm 1st generation Australian, where my grandmother was actually interned at Auschwitz, so a survivor. So I've got 2 very different Australian Jewish experiences. And I do want to add that until this year, never in my life have I hesitated in saying that I'm a proud Australian, and that's something hard to say. The other thing is, before I start, I do, just one second. Before I start, sorry. Not COVID, just Before I start, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're standing, and also I would like to pay respect to the elders past and present. In the last 368 days, I've really learned the meaning of those words. In the last 368 days, people have tried to tell me that I'm not indigenous to the land of Israel. It's been a really shocking experience, and let me tell you, Ancestry.com tells otherwise. Now, I'm going to start properly. I want to start with a little trigger warning. Some of what I'm going to say is going to be distressing, and that's because I'm really very angry. On this date, exactly 1 year ago, I received a call from a tough, brilliant, social justice warrior lawyer friend of mine. Her office overlooks Macquarie Street. She is a child of Holocaust survivors, and she rang me because she found herself shaking and hysterically crying on the corner on the floor in her office. She could hear a giant shouting mob marching outside her office window, and they were baying for her blood. This was dark. This was Nazi Germany transplanted to sunny Sydney. I hope you won't be offended when I use the words that she heard. This is actually what was being shouted out. It doesn't matter what they may say in the media. What was being shouted was F the Jews. What she heard was F Israel. And she also heard repeated over and over on Macquarie Street, gas the Jews. Israel had not even started retaliating yet at this point. And it was the night that our Premier had chosen to light the Opera House sails in honour of those murdered and kidnapped in Israel. As mentioned before, the Jews of Sydney were asked to stay home. Why? We were asked to stay home for our own safety. And Macquarie Street, just up there, with New South Wales law courts, with endless chambers of lawyers, that was the setting for the legal march to honour the murderers and the rapists. They were not asked to stay home. Those people marching were not asked to stay home for their own safety. In reality, I'm fairly confident that almost anyone in Australia would agree that the Jews of Australia posed absolutely no threat to them or anyone else. And as we know, that celebratory rally, because that's all it was, it flowed onto the iconic Opera House steps. There people supposedly shouted out, "Where's the Jews?" Yeah, right. By the way, I still have the footage on my phone if anybody wants to see it. If they wanted to know where the Jews were that night, I can tell them. The Jews may have been inside the Opera House, where so many Jews have season tickets. And so many Jews have been long-term donors and founding members. The Jews were not on the Opera House steps or the Opera House forecourt, as we were told not to come, and we are generally law-abiding. As law-abiding citizens, myself, my husband and my son, we drove to the Rocks to view the Opera House from a safe and respectable distance. As we drove through the city, we were confronted by endless black muscle cars with Palestinian flags streaming out, hooting their horn like in celebration. The three of us went and we sang Hatikva to nobody. And then we went and did something simply Australian. We went to have a quiet beer at one of Australia's oldest pubs in the Rocks. I remember that Noah Argamani's terrified face as she was being kidnapped was on the front cover of the newspaper that day, and the pub had it posted on the wall for the support, because that's the Australian thing. At that point, I texted Jeremy Jones's sister in Israel. People who are originally from Sydney would all know who Jeremy Jones is. And I said to her that Sydney community needed Jeremy Jones. We needed him back from heaven. And that sister is actually here tonight, and she confirmed that he is interceding for us on high. And little did we know quite how much we would need him. So thank you all for coming. And I can only pray for better times ahead. And thank you for having me.
That was wonderful. Now, is someone else? I was just momentarily detained. I will explain why in a moment. Not actually detained, poor choice of words. I was having a conversation. And I'll tell you why. Well, I'll tell you why now. There has been some chatter about going on to the Opera House after this, and the police have informed me entirely reasonably that there are bylaws that prevent any protest happening in the Opera House, and if anyone goes there with flags or banners, they will have to enforce the bylaws, and they really don't want to do that. They support what we're doing, and in the sense that this is peaceful and harmonious, and they don't want a confrontation, but they have to enforce the law. Now, of course, we go, well, what happened a year ago? And you know what? We will do what's right. And in doing what's right, we will heap burning coals of shame on the heads of those who do what's wrong. And that's just what we're going to do. So, the vision behind, I'm utterly convinced, friends, that the way we defeat evil is by doing good. And so I know it's disappointing, and it would be great to have our moment, but I would ask you not to, because we respect the police. They are here to keep us safe and protect public order. So that's what I was doing over there. So thank you all so much for your cooperation. There's such a good crowd, you'll clap at anything I say. It's great, fantastic. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, a round of applause. Yeah. Now, you can ask a question. I would say, the question was, is there any reason why 100 people could walk there without banners and a flag? Look, that will look, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it probably is a duck. So I would say, if you go over there with your family or with a small group without a flag, and you hang around and you go for a walk, that's okay. But if it looks, just don't put the police in a difficult position. We don't need to. I think this has been pretty meaningful and moving, and we just want to stay on the right side of the law. There's no here's the other thing I would say. I cut my teeth in the protest movement in the anti-apartheid and end of the era of apartheid at the University of Cape Town. This is not the right situation for civil disobedience. That was, I don't want to get arrested or tear gassed for breaking some silly bylaws, and I don't think you do either. So let's not do that. We'll preserve our right for civil disobedience for a more serious time. Okay, does anyone else? Michelle, Zwar, someone else? Michelle, come and.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm here. I'm involved with Never Again Is Now. My name's Michelle. I am the grandchild of Auschwitz survivors. Last year, I was all ready to come last year. My daughter had made a makeshift flag because we didn't have our Israeli flags at that point. and then it was announced that we couldn't come. And my daughter, as strong as she is, she was like, not bugger that, as Mark said, but stuff that, we're going, against the wishes of all my family that were messaging and very worried. But I felt, as all of you did, we had a right to be here. I had been shocked, horrified by what had happened on the 7th of October. But I felt at least we were getting support from our country, from countries globally, was standing up against the terror attack. I could never have imagined that we would be told not to attend. We knew we didn't want to make our way to the Opera House itself. We knew there would be a danger factor. So we got off the bus, we walked parallel, we came down George Street to the passenger terminal. As we walked, we could see exactly parallel with us the front of that sea of darkness coming down George Street, chanting. We heard the chants loud and clear. When we got to the passenger terminal, we saw the lovely Mark and Freya that we did know. We have known them for a number of years, but we didn't realise they would be there. There were only about 10 of us there, and we bumped into them, which was amazing. And we stood there and we watched, we cried, we felt a lot of pain that we could not have this moment. So being here tonight means all the difference. Anyway, I felt like it was God ordained at the time that we should meet Mark and Freya. And we spoke to them later in the week and said, we need to do something. My beautiful husband Wayne, who's sitting there, he's not Jewish. I'm a very strong and proud Jew from a very strong Jewish heritage. My husband is a beautiful South Australian Christian, and we knew we had to do something. And with Mark and Freya, the last year has been a whirlwind, and our other beautiful volunteers in our audience that I'm spotting. And so Never Again is now was born, and we have become a huge Jewish and non-Jewish family standing together against hate. And we thank you all so much for being here tonight. And I want to thank Rachel and Al. There's Rachel and Al, who from our group that has birthed forth this idea tonight, and also members of the Jewish, obviously the Jewish community as well, that wanted this to happen. So thank you very much for coming tonight. It's so important that we stand here, that we take back our beautiful city, united as Australians, and on our own and on our Australian values. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to invite Hili to come and share a few words from Israel, give us an Israeli perspective. Thank you very much, Hili.
Thank you. Very spontaneously, I would just want to thank everyone who is here. As an Israeli, as a proud Zionist, as a proud Jew, standing here on the other side of the world and see the amount of support that we're getting from you guys, whether if you're Jewish or not Jewish, wherever you're coming from, it warms my heart to the deepest level that I cannot even describe how much. I will share shortly. I think every Israeli and every Jew experienced hard times since October 7th. I lost my cousin on October 7th as one of the watchers at the base. I've lost some of my friends in Gaza fighting. I have a sister who is currently serving. I was called for reserve myself. My best friends are at Lebanon. My city from Haifa just got 100 rockets while I was talking to my parents at the shelters last night. And we're standing tall, and we're standing strong. And seeing your support is unwavering. And I can tell that my greatest wish from the bottom of my heart, first of all, that 101 hostages will be home in Israel and as fast as possible. Every single one of them, from a baby to an older person, to a man, to a woman, because everyone deserves their freedom. No one deserves to be in those dungeons being raped and beaten and starved in inhumane conditions. No matter what religion are you, you need to understand that. And we just want peace. And I think seeing the hostages' families and seeing Israelis standing strong and seeing people all over the world are standing strong gives hope. And look around, look at each other, look at the people in the eyes that are standing next to you. That's the future. That's what we're hoping for. So just toda rabba, And thank you so much.
All right, we're going to sing again. Rabbi Yossi is going to lead us in some, I don't know, what are we going to sing? Am Yisrael Chai. Something, it's very significant to be here. And then the other thing we're going to sing, then we're going to sing the Australian anthem, we're going to sing Hatikva, and then we're going to take, given that we can't go to the Opera House, and we thought we might just do a group photo here with Magen David in the foreground and everybody gathered up there, and we'll get some great shots like that. How does that sound, everyone? It's all right, yeah. All right, and the other thing I wanted to say is, don't be afraid. This is Australia. We're citizens here. We will keep this country safe. I've been schlepping around the country talking at shuls, at churches, political groups. I want to tell you the vast majority of everyday Australians stand with Israel and support the Jewish people. The vast majority. You are not alone. We will keep Australia a safe and free and tolerant and inclusive society. That is what we're going to do. We are going to push back the hate with love. We are going to overcome evil with good. And we're going to do that not just for us, but for our grandkids and our great-grandkids. That's what we're doing, friends. So let me encourage you with that. Now, we're just going to organize what we're going to do next. One more speech. Ofir! Hey! All right. So, 7th of October, 6:29 a.m. We all know what happened. That was 2:29 p.m. Sydney time. We're all glued to our phones, to our screens, looking at the stories, the pictures, the numbers coming in, which every one of us can remember and unfortunately cannot forget. That was 2:29 p.m. on the 7th of October. Just a few hours after, at 8 p.m. on the same day, Palestine Action Group posted an event, a rally for a free Palestine. I didn't know anyone from the community here. Literally a year ago, I didn't know any single person around here except my wife. And I wasn't gonna stand by and let a bunch of uneducated students dictate the narrative and yell about the things we did wrong while we were still being butchered and the blood was still gushing from the victims. I could not stand by. So I started organizing a protest, and ironically enough, there was a few members that were about to go to the protest, and quickly I received a phone call they're urging me not to because I'm putting everyone in danger. Not because of the nature of our protest, because it's not safe for Jews and Israeli in Sydney. I was living here 9 years by that time, and I never felt this. I was shocked. I could not believe what happened. And then we all see the scenes of the Opera House. What was it? It wasn't for a free Palestine. It wasn't to end the occupation. It wasn't to end the apartheid. It was for bloodthirsty hate. And no one can deny that. And that was the last time that I stayed at home because I was too afraid to be Jewish outside. We are done praying in the dark in our little areas. We have nothing to be ashamed of. We are peaceful. We're proud Australians, and there's absolutely no reason we cannot be here. Since then, we saw at the end of October 4,000 people in Martin Place. First time in history, as far as I know, pro-Israel, pro-Jewish rally in Martin Place, 4,000 people. And then, never again, it is now topped it with 12,000 people in the Domain at their first event. Unheard of, in the middle of Sydney, and I know how mission impossible it was. And since then, the narrative has changed. They switched from gas the Jews to gaslighting the Jews. They didn't refer to us as Jews, we're just Zionists. They don't support Hezbollah, they just have yellow flags, innocent yellow flags. They don't say glory to Hamas, they say glory to the resistance, this
imaginary entity. No one is the resistance. It's definitely not Hamas. And the right for our safety trumps their right to protest. I am sorry. If we are not safe, they should not do what they're doing. We're proud Australians, and we want, actually no, we deserve to be safe in our streets. When we say never again is now, we have no one but ourselves to make it happen. When you walk around with your Star of David, that is never again. When you wave your Israeli flag in the middle of the city, that is never again. When you are here with your community, with your friends, with your family, that is never again. And it is now. Thank you.
We have Philippa is going to come and share a few words as well. Come into the light. Step into the light. There we go.
Good evening, everyone. These words are dedicated to my children's first cousin, Major Ido Yehoshua, aged 27, and all the other beautiful young men and women who were murdered defending our country, Eretz Israel. I'm a mother of 5, a grandmother of 2, and a resident of this wonderful city for more than 40 years. On October 1, I was here when I noticed throngs of marchers in the thousands charging down Macquarie Street, calling out Allahu Akbar and waving hundreds of Palestinian Hamas flags. On October 9, I was here. On October 9, I was here because I needed solace from the Jewish and Israeli communities after a harrowing 48 hours when we started to get information from Israel. I was unaware that the Jewish community had called off attendance. On October 9, I was here when I approached a police officer to get directions to the area designated for the Israeli group. He looked at me quizzically, waving me in the direction of the western side of the Opera House. By this time, a throng of thousands were corralled on the concourse, the shouting becoming increasingly threatening. On October 9, I was here to see and hear the crowd taking control, lighting flames to scare the mounted police and burning flags, and to hear the calls, F the Jews, kill the Jews, burn the Jews. On October 9, I was here when we realised the projection of the Israeli flag on the Opera House cells had been cancelled without notice. I felt somewhat threatened as the protesters filled the entire concourse. On October 9, if you were here and they called, "We're the Indians," how would you feel? On October 9, if you were here when they called, "Where's the Christians?" how would you feel? On October 9, if you were here and they called, "Where's the Aussies?" how would you feel? When Sydney lost its innocence on October 9, I was here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's what we're going to sing now. Come on, Rabbi Yossi is going to come. We're going to do Am Yisrael Chai, then we're going to do the Australian national anthem, and then we're going to do Hatikva, and then we're going to take a photo, and I'd encourage you to just draw together, hug someone. It's a National Hug a Jew Day, see, just like this. This is it. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu 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 Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael Chai, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. Od Avinu, Od Avinu, Od Avinu 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 Chai. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
Sorry, from my...
Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam, salam, shalom, shalom. Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom, shalom. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Oyavo shalom aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Aleinu ve'al kulam. Shalom, shalom. Okay, time for the anthems. Time for the anthems. I've spotted a dear friend Leah in the audience, and let's ask Leah to lead the anthems.
Australians, oh let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty rich and rare. In history's page, at every stage, advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair. Ulun Baleva, Penima, Nefesh Yehudi, Homiya, Ufate Mizrach, Kadima, Ayin Letzion, Sophia. Liotam Hofshi Ve'atzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim. Liotam Hofshi Ve'atzeinu Eretz Zion Yerushalayim.
Well, we live in hope. I'm religious. I believe with every fiber of my being that the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the God who looks after us, the God who doesn't sleep or slumber, the God who cares for Israel and his chosen people, this God will triumph over evil. Friends, the darkness will not overcome the light, but the light will overcome the darkness. And I want to say this to you, everything will be all right in the end. And if it's not all right, it's because it's not the end. Now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. And may the Lord give you his shalom now and always. Amen. Amen. Now, let us take a photograph over there. So this is everybody crowd together. We've got some photographers and cameras. So let's all move up against those stairs. We need some people sitting down the front cross-legged saying under 13B team of...
I'm just going to throw it so it's out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, go. You can check.
All right.
Yeah, go.
All right, let's, how are we going with the cameras? Why don't we all just raise our hands, wave our hands.
No,
we shall
I think
overcome
you need to
life.
be still.
Okay, we've all got that. Take those photos. Am Israel Chai.
We need to be still. Rabbi, I think we need to be still.
Oh.
Still one at least. One
Okay,
still
now
one.
we need to have a still one apparently for people who don't have highly sensitive chips on their cameras to capture the low light.
Are you going in it?
Am I going in? I'll sit down the front with the cricket bats. Here we go. Team of 2024. 2024. That's beautiful. And maybe next year in Jerusalem. All right. Okay, that's wonderful. Well, friends, thank you very much. That wraps up our time here. Thank you so much for coming. Be blessed, be safe, and have a wonderful evening.
Season. Yeah. I know. There you go. Yeah. Slice anyway.
And maybe give the t-shirts back.
לא תיפול כעת רוחנו מסביב ברזל של חרבות ויונה תפרוס כנפיים התקווה בת שנות 2000 עוד נצא לשיר ברחובות אפילו כשקשה לראות עולם ביחד אף אחד פה לא בודד שישרפו במלחמות עם ישראל
sorry, I'm
Oh, it's a bit dark. I can't really. It's not filming very well. They came over to the Opera House now, and there's a whole. Like, I don't think any of the Israeli protesters are actually coming, but you got a whole cordon of cops here, and there's more here. So you can't. It looks like you can't get to any section because they announced they were going to march over, and then the organiser, Mark Leach, got called to. Over to the cops to talking to, and he got told that you're not allowed to protest at the, you're not allowed to protest at the Opera House. So he kind of, apparently he said, "Oh, well, what do you mean you can't? What happened last year, a year ago?" But anyway, so there was wondering why all the cops left over there, and now it's on. It's just a big. There's a big collection of cops here now, blocking it off, and you can't go. You just can't get over to the. You can't get to the Opera House. Like,
yeah, and now
I don't know.
it's finished with the camera.
There's a few people walking through, but not many. It's like completely blocked off. So, but no, I don't think the Israelis are going to come over. At least I don't. I haven't seen any. So anyway, let's wait and see. But there are other people. There's some people in there. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, there's one of their head cops there. So I think they're very much limiting it to who can go over there by the look of it. And I think these people are just all tourists wanting to see the Opera House and they're not allowed to. It looks like there's a couple. There's a couple of guys here with Australian flags anyway. So no. Fuck, this is terrible. So this is pretty much.
If anyone wants to join, come in.
This is a very small contingent has come over
Anyone wants to join the photo up, get in.
after being told that they're not allowed to.
Yeah, we're inclusive. We're inclusive.
Yeah, you don't have to be Jewish. Just be Australian.
Come on, stay here. One more? Alright, let's do it.
Yeah, it's mine. Just maybe do both ways also.
Yeah, do a landscape one too.
Yeah, this is the limit of what? Sorry, that was my fault. This is the limit. The limit of how far they can come. I've just caused a ruckus by knocking over one of their flag posts.
Locked out of our Opera House.
Oi, Manny. Everyone get in for the photo. Come on.
You're stuck now. It's wonderful responsibility, guys.
Yeah, we're Australian. And we're proud Australians. Hey, legend.
Sorry.
Right, jump up here.
My front of this.
Yeah, I think that's the extent of it. There's a couple of guys talking to the cops, trying to find out why. I'm assuming.
Do you understand? I'm just curious.
I'd like to think I can understand what you guys are going through.
No, not in general. Not in general. I'm just talking about like here specifically.
I can appreciate
Oh, we got a handshake anyway out of the cops.
It feels like we get punished. Thanks for taking a photo of us troublemakers.
All right. I have a feeling that is going to be the extent of it tonight, but you never know. It could be more. Pause for a minute. Right, we've got a little bit of a way in, but then because the flags, they've got to go to the car park via a different way. It's nearly a breach, almost a breach. Yeah, no, nothing to see here pretty much.